Hello everyone, welcome to the TG podcast. Today we have Fun for the Whole Fan. That's a difficult name to pronounce, so yeah. Welcome to the podcast, Fun.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, I just 2 seconds ago I asked you how you were doing today, and you said had mac and cheese. Was that
Yes, I made myself.
yeah?
It was good.
You
It's
made
very
it?
hot. I burnt my tongue a little bit.
Oof. Okay. So I guess we go right to the questions. So
Yes.
yeah, you're mainly known as a town leader or town founder, right?
hmm Yep.
You have like 3 towns that are very popular, and one of your first towns was Port Lacago, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't say that it's successful. Um, really, it was just the opposite of that. Um, I made it on TGN during my short time there. Uh, it didn't work out. Um, I think mostly because it was in such a terrible spot. I wanted to uh create like a town on a lake. So it was very limiting on what you could do, and I think we only really got uh, 3 people to live there. But I left the server because there's just I don't know, wasn't really anything for me there. I never really made any connections with anyone,
Yeah.
so I lost interest pretty quick.
And so it was a town on top of like a lake, you said?
Yeah, it was a small lake too. It wasn't even a massive one.
All right. So yeah, I was gonna ask what's Porto Lacago next, but yeah. So you said this town was you made it in TGN, right?
Yeah.
To be honest, when I was researching your history and all that, I didn't know you
Mhm.
played on TGN first. I thought you were like a
Yeah.
TG player, but yeah, how did you found out about TGN and all that?
Um, I don't remember exact. I think I found TGN from, well, obviously from its subreddit, the TGN subreddit. Um, I think I just stumbled upon it one night. Uh, Someone was talking about it in the teenagers Discord, so I uh, I joined with my friend, and I did a bunch of I didn't do a bunch of research, but I heard about all um the towns and stuff like Salmon Lake, the pits, and there was a volcano cult in Red Rock, uh, and we decided to join volcano cult, um, where we set up a house there, and then not long after, I was like, I'm out of here. I'm gonna start my own town.
Yeah, that like you didn't last match in Volcano, right? You were there for
No, I was only there for a week or two.
oh, that's short
But
amount of time.
I was there during the invasion of the pit. That was I think led by Creamy No Block or something. I don't know. I wasn't a part of it, but I was there for it.
Yeah, all right. So, you since you played on TG and both TGN, what
hmm
what do you think about like what's the main differences about the servers that make you like more one another, or which one do you like more and why? That's the question, basically.
Um, Obviously I like TG a lot more, just because I've spent more time on it, and created a lot of relationships there. Um, but I'm sure I would have loved to stay with TGN. Just the difference was that um, I could only play on my MacBook Air. So after a while, it got sort of uncomfortable to play. So that was the biggest factor of me not sticking around a lot. Um, yeah,
Yeah, I guess. Um, so once you came came back to like playing TG, like you started playing on TG instead of
hmm
TGN, I know you started a town, Ghost Town,
yes,
right? But
yes.
how did you start out in TG and how did that take you to Ghost Town?
Um, I started out in early June, so I was a bit later to the party compared to a bunch of other uh, established people on the server, but I I sort of explored around the I explored around the server, and I think I found myself in Westminster. And at that point, I died like 5 times. So I asked anyone if like they could uh, give me a place to stay for a little bit, so I can just uh, get myself set up with some resources, and then I'll be on my way. And Yummy Pizza Guy was the one that invited me to come live with him, and he just had like a little small place in a savanna biome, and I built my house there, and I invited my friend who I started TGN with. Um, I invited him to come over. He built a house, but he he didn't show much interest in TG, so it was mostly just me. And then Pizza just sort of disappeared from the server. No clue where he went. So really, it was just me in that area at that point, with like 4 other houses. Um, but I think I started getting some other people to uh, come and live with me there. Um, and at that point, I was like, oh, I'll start a town or whatever. And I came up with the name Ghost Town um, because when someone calls a town that is abandoned is called a ghost town, right? So that's what I named it after. But a lot of people think that it's supposed to go with like a haunted or spooky theme. But it was just for the name. It was just for the reason that nobody lived there. So yeah, and I stayed in that exact house for the entirety of 1.15.
Yeah, I like so Ghost Town um started not really like in the early TG days, right? It started
No.
mostly in the like late TG, mid TG.
Yeah.
So despite this, it became like very popular amongst player like I don't know Ice Rise, I remember, and
hmm
Coop also, who is the founder of Westminster. What do you think made Ghost Town so popular, although there was like a lot of established towns already?
Um. Well, I think it was mostly because I started it with the intention of uh having like very little build rules. Like really just you have to get approval to build in a place. So like you're not building on someone's claim or whatever. But after that, it's really up to you to make whatever you'd like. Because I saw how Curiosity had such uh, s- strict build guidelines, and uh, no name had a specific style. So I was like, well, what about the people who don't have the building skills to build in Curiosity or don't like the style that No Name is? So in my mind, it was like, oh, I'll just start my own town where anyone can build in whatever style they like. Um, so that's what I think that's the biggest drawing factor to it, as well as there was a big influx of new players around the time that it started up, and uh, it was from that one Reddit post where it was like, uh, upvote if you want an official teenagers Minecraft server. And Mario Foley was like, "Oh, we got one. Here you go." And then a ton of people joined, so we were like, "Oh, this is our time." So, really, Ghost Town was just a rando town that became popular, and a lot of established players um, sort of drew a little bit of interest from it. So yeah, I got Koople, I got Cheese, uh, Ice Rice built a massive statue. Um, yeah, Herman, not Cheese. Um, and I got I got Tit Cow to build a stone man up on the hill.
Yeah, very nice. I like what one of the first things you see when you see like ghost town screenshots is Ice Rice
Hmm.
statue. That's really nice. Um yeah, so after the reset happens and all that, you created SC, or mostly known as Spirit City, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
What were your thoughts going into creating that city, and why do you think it became also so popular? Is it the same reason Ghost Town became popular, or do you think it's different?
Um, I think it was because Ghost Town was at its peak when the reset happened. So a lot of its momentum carried over into 1.16. Uh, but our all of our council members went like grinded really hard in the first week or so, and within the week we had a gold farm, a gunpowder farm, a skeleton farm, and we advertised that, hey, if you join Spirit City, you get access to all these farms, as well as at that time we had relaxed build rules still, or little to none, but over time we've stepped them up a little bit, just just from like criticisms and just overall not wanting to be just have a town that's filled with just boxes.
Yeah,
And also the community that we created on like the Discord server. Um, yeah, yeah, we just had a nice community going on.
yeah, well, I like that answer. Just simple.
Yeah.
Um, so since you created all these like very popular towns, how did it affect you as a player? Like, do people recognize you as a town leader? Do they tell you something, or how did it affect you, all these towns?
Um, well, it's it's definitely allowed me to become uh, more of an established and well-known character on the server. Um, but a lot of like especially newer people don't um, see me as the leader of Spirit City because of the fact that I'm not. Uh, I've sort of stepped back from the public, uh, from Spirit City itself. So really, you'd only know me as the leader of Spirit City if you're part of the Discord server. Um, yeah, but it's definitely it's given me uh, like I said, it's given me the status that I have.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
So going like going far from the town things and all that,
Mhm.
let's talk more about like your name and your skin. You know, the usual questions we always start with. I'm gonna
Yeah.
like sort
Yeah.
of do them now. So
Yep.
yeah, just I like your skin, the one that's like a it's a pilot, but what is it, a duck,
A
right?
duck. Yeah.
Why did you choose that particular skin?
Um. Well, it my skin has sort of evolved since I joined TG. Um. it started actually back at TGN when I found a skin that was the current duck theme I have, like the same colors or whatever. Um, so when I first joined TG, I had that skin on, and even early on, I started building up a identity for myself on the server. And at that point, to me, it was sort of like, oh well, the duck is my identity now. I can't really change it. But what is and I don't I like it. It's a good skin. It's easy to work with because it's such a simple thing. I've made so many different variations of it. Um, and I've actually settled on the one I have right now, um, which I changed to like right before Anarchy in 1.15. It's supposed to be like an Anarchy type thing where I want to go for like a post-apocalyptic look for it, and I've stuck with it ever since just because I like it so much. But I've switched it up a few times for events and stuff. But that one's been my main one since then.
Yeah, it's you have like that dark personality. I like it.
Hmm.
So about your name, I really don't
Yeah.
like long names, but yours has like a particular charm to it. It's like sort of, how do you say it? Tongue rolling or something like that. Like you
Tongue
say
twister.
it. So you know when something you remember very easily. So like rolls off the tongue. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Thanks, Blazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so why you choose that name so long and yeah.
Um, that name has actually been on my account for like 4.5 years. Um, like back when I didn't really care much about Minecraft, it was just sort of I booted up every once in a while to play. Uh, I found the name in I think grade 7 or around there, and I was like, oh, uh, it was sort of like a thing where it's like this shows that I'm like fun and I'm fun for the whole family, as like what they say in like commercials or whatever for like board games and stuff. And it's like, oh, fun for the whole family. But it was too long, obviously. So I shortened it down to Fun 4, like the number, the whole fam. And yeah, it's a unique name for sure, but it's also easy to remember.
Yeah, a lot of F's in that name. I don't like it. And it has like,
well, well, you're French, so
I'm not French. Oh my god. I hate that rumor that I'm French. To everyone listening to the podcast right now, I'm not French. I speak Spanish fluently. Oh my god. Yeah, so there. Yeah, I'm from Argentina. Let's skip to another topic because this one is not one that I like. So
okay.
G-Man has been spamming me with this question, so we might as well give it some
Yeah.
attention. What was your first impressions of the TG when you first joined, and how did that change later?
Um, it was definitely um well, I joined back when it was way more active, like especially with like donators and stuff. And with from like the viewpoint of a rando, it's 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 sort of I wouldn't say threatening, but the word where it's you know uh you feel it's yeah no, it's, I guess sort of unwelcoming, but not in that certain way. But it just I felt like a fly on the wall. Yeah, intimidating. Thank you, Ghosty. It felt sort of intimidating because there are people who were so social and actually like had such a like a high status. So I stayed pretty quiet and uh yeah, I tried to stay away from the donators just because I was so intimidated by them. But once I did sort of get a foot into the community and I became a donator, um, that intimidation went away because I am part of that group now. So it's that's sort of how my thoughts have changed. And there's so much I've learned so much about the community of it all and how things really work.
Yeah. I also like my first day when I joined, I was really like I was scared to somewhat from donators, and I remember my
Yeah.
first day I spent it in Westminster, right?
Hmm.
And I saw couple. I saw him like just wandering around. I told him something like, "Thanks for donating" or something. I just wanted to interact with people, and I didn't know what to say. So yeah, it
Mm,
it can be like that sometimes.
yeah.
So let me grab the last question.
Yep.
Let me think. Dun, dun, dun. Oh yeah, I like this one from Submat Dodge. It's,
Hmm.
do you have any regrets, or do you like, yeah, regret something because being an owner of towns, you know, do you?
Uh, yeah. Um, I do. I think it's mostly just um the lack of build rules. I guess I regret starting Ghost Town on that uh sort of foundation, and it led to what it objectively is not the best looking town, and uh that's an understatement. But it yeah, I don't really have too many regrets. Um, yeah, it's usually been a very easy laid back experience for me.
Yeah, I thought there was like some, because being popular in the server always has its like bad things,
Yeah.
and mostly if you are a town leader, some people hate you just because you like
Yeah,
reject.
just because I run a rival town. Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes people like, from what I've seen, I think it's
Hmm.
your case maybe, but people dox you or all that. I don't want to go
Hmm.
too deep on this because it's like not a nice thing to talk about, the dark side of
Yeah.
TG.
Yeah, it does get toxic sometimes. And I have sort of gone through moments of just wanting to leave and just leave it all behind, just of how much like toxicity was thrown my way. And like I understand that it was all jokes, but it's still I cared a lot about Spirit City, and when people like I cared a lot about Spirits, I still do. I care a lot about Spirit City, and I cared a lot about Ghost Town. And when people uh just like throw anything at it and just like go for really low blows, like, oh, your town's ugly and stuff like that, it's demoralizing, it's demotivating. And I, especially within the last few months, when uh there was a lot of like right before the propaganda war, uh like when people were really like, especially like Ancient Blade and Hjor, or however you pronounce it, I think that is, I don't know, but they just like come into, like especially Hjor would come into the uh the Spirit City Discord server and just shit on us, like, for no reason. Um, yeah, yeah. There's a lot of toxicity between towns, uh, especially when like I understand a lot of the hate Ghost Town got because from an outsider's view, a town that just is so ugly, it you don't understand why it gets so popular, and you sort of resent it a little bit.
Yeah, that can be the case. Like when people are really protective about their towns.
Hmm.
Maybe now a good time. What's your question, Blazing? I know I said this one was the last question, but I'm gonna ask you one more because I forgot. Sorry about that.
All good. I like answering questions.
Okay, so yeah, I totally forgot about this. The propaganda war, you just mentioning
Yes.
this.
Hmm.
So how did that come down and how did it affect you, the town, majorly?
Um, I wasn't really that involved with the propaganda war. Um, it I had a bit of a hiatus in October-ish, uh, around that time because my personal life was starting to ramp up a little bit. So I didn't have I didn't have much time nor interest in TG at that point. So I took like a short hiatus. I'd come onto the server every once in a while just to see what's up. Um, but that the propaganda war happened all during that time. Uh, like I'd see what was going on in the subreddit, and I thought it was pretty fun. It was funny, uh, because I liked how it was friendly too. It wasn't like attacking anyone else. It was a creative way to um, have a little bit of uh, a competition between, especially Spirit City and Soup. So it was fun to watch. I liked it,
Did
but
you
at a point
make
it
did you
got a
make
little
any
too much.
posts on it? Like,
I didn't. No.
oh, that's sad. I thought being the leader of the town, you would make posts or something.
Yeah. Well, as I said, I was on a hiatus, so I wasn't involved with it.
Oh my God, there's so much question people are. Yeah, so I don't know if I want to continue or not. Uh,
I mean, I'm fine answering more questions.
okay, this one seems like it's kind of connected to everything that I just
Hmm.
asked, like the town things and all that.
Hmm.
But yeah, so I like it, but not a lot. So, what advice do you have for people looking to start their own town? This is by Quentin, the question.
Hmm. Um, what I see a lot of the time is that when people join, they immediately start a town. Um, and obviously it gets labeled as a rando town because it it really is. It's a person that no one's ever seen before until like that day or something, and they're advertising a new town. Uh, so the advice I'd have for people who are looking to start a town, uh, wait some time until you're uh, established as a player and you actually have some sort of status and people know who you are and you actually have connections with people so um, you can get a little bit of leadership. So yeah, that's mostly for people who are just starting out on the server in general. But for people who have already been established on the server, um, the best thing to do is what's worked out for me at least is have a community around you, like a nice group of people. Yeah, incentives to join the town. So have our incentive for Ghost Town was very little um, build rules. So it appealed to mostly randos. And the drawing thing for Spirit City at the start, at least, was that we had that uh, farms that weren't even public at that point. Um, but yeah, have incentive, become known well in the server, and have a group of people around you that you can trust and uh, you know help you lead. So you're not making all decisions yourself, and you have other people to um, chime in with their ideas.
Yeah, I like the answer. Have an incentive. Yeah, that's
Hmm.
yeah. So now I'm really gonna finish this, cause so yeah, it's really fucking long. Like the recording I have is like 30 minutes.
Hmm.
So yeah, and I really like it this episode. I wasn't really like you. How do you say it? Got up my. I didn't have a lot of expectations for it, but yeah, it was very good.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I
so
enjoyed it.
yeah, me too, of
It was fun.
course. Yeah, a fun podcast for the whole fam, I guess.
Yeah,
So yeah,
fun, fun guy, fun podcast.
yeah, makes sense. So yeah, thanks for coming, man.
No problem.
Um,
Thanks for having me.
yeah, thanks for everyone who's listening right now, and thanks for making questions, you know. And
Hmm.
I gotta give uh some money, I mean diamonds, to anyone who make the best question. I don't know what's the best question. I'm gonna see it later. So yeah,
Okay.
that's
All right.
it.
Real quick, before we end, I want
Okay,
to give a quick shout out to. This sounds so weird, but
okay.
I just want to recognize all of the people that have made my journey on TG so memorable. So everyone in the Spirit City Council, so Limish Pingu, Bimo, Lazuli Crafter, Kupel, Cheese Addict, Hype Z, uh, I, Chloe, um, and Daskaper, Bjorn. Even though he's gone, he'll be uh, he'll be missed dearly. He was a really cool person to hang around with, um, and I hope we get to see him again.
Yeah, that's I don't mind you making a shout out. That's all right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess. See everyone on the next one. Now we're gonna
sponsored by Honey.
yeah. This was sponsored by Shadow Legends. See ya on the next one, everyone. Great
Bye.
podcast.